Hello, everybody. Welcome. Happy Friday. It is a gloomy day here in Texas. I saw Andrew's here. Hello, Andrew Lanier. It is gloomy, right? We are having the gloomies here. Oh my gosh. Jess is here. Thank you so much for being here. Hello, everybody. So I have been working so hard this week on my Q2 reset. I've been recording it and hopefully it will come out soon. And I've been working on my little dream life menu thing that I'm going to share with you guys. And we're going to talk today about basically focusing on how do you continue to manifest your dream life using authenticity and alignment rather than focusing on chaos and fear. I have been, for one thing, working on trying to get my spaces clean, but also a lot of times when I am trying to reset for a quarter, I'm like super stressed. Like, okay, how do I get a video done? How do I get the quarter done? Like, how am I going to fit all this stuff in? And truth be told, so for those of you that are not familiar with my HB90 90-day planning system, one of the biggest pieces of that plan working is that you try to estimate how much time you have on one hand, like kind of like a budget when you say, here's how much money I have, here's all the things I want to buy. How do I balance those two things? And so often, as with money, we can't buy possibly every single thing we want to buy in a month because we have to budget for long term. We have to cut some things out of the budget, et cetera. And that's the same thing that happens with time. That so often when we really look at all the things that we have to do, it's really tough because so often our brains will convince us that I can do that real quick, or it's only going to take me a little bit of time to do it, or we don't want to look at time at all. We just say, oh, that seems like something I need to do. Yes, I'll do that. Yes, I need to do that. Yes, I need to do this. I'll put this on my plate. And then we find out as we work through our week that we don't actually have as much time as we thought to get everything done. And it would be like really, I think my life would be even more of a dumpster fire if I didn't have some way of looking at my time versus my tasks. And the truth of it is, though, that pretty much for the last couple of years, like I used to be really good at figuring out like a basic idea. And the truth is, you don't have to be great at estimating time. You just need to use it as a tool, right? Like a lot of us aren't great at estimating time. I don't know anybody that can say, okay, this is going to take me exactly 3 hours. And then it does actually take them exactly 3 hours. And so don't let it hold you back by saying, well, I can't estimate my time, because you can. And it doesn't have to be something that you do perfectly. It's just something that you need to do, at least in theory, to be able to say, yay, welcome, to be able to say, okay, I like think it'll take me about this amount. That's good enough because what we're trying to do is create boundaries in how much we're putting on our plate. And even if we estimate wrong, then yeah, exactly. Keyword is estimate, not perfect date. I don't know. That's not a real word, but um, yeah, it's like doing it in theory, but a lot of people just won't do it because they're like, "Oh, I have ADHD, I can't estimate my time." But the truth is, there are like thousands of people who have ADHD or who aren't great at like estimating time that still use this type of system. And a lot of people don't use it in practicality, but they just use it as a way to create a container by saying, "Okay, I think I have this many hours throughout the quarter. I'm going to try to say that I can get this amount of time done." And it can be very, very freeing, but also very frustrating. And the truth of my life, confessions, is that I have knowingly been putting ridiculously more on my plate than I can do because number one, I have felt like I have to because there's people that expect stuff for me. And number Or did I say number 1 or number 2? I don't know. I lost track. Number 1, because I feel like I have to, because there's so many things that have to get done. My life will just fall apart if I don't get it done. There's too many people that expect this. There's too many obligations, et cetera, et cetera. Number 2, also, I think there's a piece of me that's like, I am not worthy of the money I make, the life I have, the things, the community that I've built, unless I'm pushing myself to the brink. Something about that internal like worthiness. And this is going to come back to that authenticity. But this quarter, for the first time, I said, okay, I'm going to release this pressure a little bit and I'm going to do as realistic as possible. And I'm not going to say that'll happen real quick. And I'm not going to say there's no time for buffer. And I'm not going to say, well, I know I'm putting too much on my plate, but I'm still going to do it anyway. And I cut out over 100 hours of what is normally in my tasks for this next quarter. And it feels very risky and it feels really freeing and liberating. But we're going to see how it goes. And I feel like it's a big growth moment for me of just like, okay, I'm going to trust that the work I do put out in the world will be enough. Why is someone driving through my yard? Get on the road. Don't drive through my bluebonnets. I'm guessing it's a delivery, but for some reason they went off my actual driveway and went into my yard, which is not happy since it's raining, but we're gonna deep breaths. Let that go. Yeah, 100 hours is a big relief. Get off my lawn, right? Exactly, Brandy. It's a big relief, but it's also really scary because, you know, when you've got practical things and you've got these worthiness things and all that, it's like, okay, I'm going to have to step into a place of trust, which is where I've been really thinking a lot about manifesting. And, you know, we talk about the manifesting stuff, like the witchy kind of stuff, the mindset, everything else here on this channel. But I wanted to talk about it specifically today because I think that, you know, with all the other noise that we have in the world, it is more difficult than ever to kind of get into a place of hope and excitement for the future when we're allowing ourselves to just be sort of like pulled along. Like, is anybody here really good at skiing? Not snow skiing, but like water skiing? When I was younger, uh, I was not fancy enough to be uh, to have a boat. Like my dad had a boat that I think he bought. He used to do a lot of work in trade. Growing up in a small town, you know, that's the kind of thing that would happen is my dad would go and help somebody fix their house or something and they didn't have the money to pay him. So he would be like, well, what about those 2 motorcycles that don't run? And they'd be like, you can have them if you can make them work. You know, that kind of stuff. That's the kind of dad I had. And so we ended up with a lot of secondhand stuff that my dad got in trade. And so we had a boat, but it was not the kind of boat that you could go skiing on. So it wasn't that kind of fancy. It was just kind of like go out into the lake and go fishing kind of boat. But anyway, I had a boyfriend in high school who had his family had a boat that you could like ski boat, right? And like a speed boat. And then I also had a good friend who had it's like a church friend who had a house on Lake Blackshear, and they also had a boat. So I had a couple of instances where other families who were really good at had grown up in skiing, water skiing, were trying to teach me how to water ski. And I was the kind of person who I'm like holding on to the thing and they're like, give us a thumbs up when you're ready to go. And I've got my skis up and I'm like this, terrified. And they would say, okay. And I would give them thumbs up and they would start pulling and I would just literally fall flat on my face and be like, you know, my head skipping across the water until I finally let go. Like it was literally the most hilarious thing. I don't think I ever, maybe one time ever got up on skis. And I had friends that were like doing all kinds of tricks and stuff on skis. That was not my thing. I could not do it. But anyway, I feel like right now, if all we're doing is paying attention to the things that worry us, and we're not going to get into details because it's a safe space place for everybody. But if we're just focusing in on what's scaring me right now, what's going wrong in my life right now, where am I having to hustle and where am I having to like fulfill obligations and be, be scared and be looking out on everything. If that's all we're focused in on, we're kind of like holding on to the lead or whatever and just letting it drag us along. And with that, you're basically having a hard time breathing. You feel like you're drowning. You don't know whether to let go. And if you let go, are they going to be able to come back around and get you? There's a lot of things going through your mind when you're in the ski moment. Oh my gosh. One of our guy friends had huge feet and some of the kids used to ski on his shoes. That is so funny. I did not say where I got my shirt, but this is Piper and Ivy, which is one of my favorites. If I have a bookish shirt, it's 99% of the time going to be from there. Caitlin, hello. So good to see you. So anyway, I feel like so many of us, and this was me in Q1, are just barely holding on to that like lead coming off the speedboat, and we're just head in underwater, just barely surviving in some ways. And I just kind of have put my foot down and said, I'm going to thrive as best I can. And I don't mean this to sound like I'm toxic positivity or, any of that. I think you guys know me well enough to know that I am not, that's not what I mean by this. But to just say that in the places that I can control, I'm going to actually take more time to let go of anything that is just pulling me without my consent. Anything that is just pulling me or making me feel like I'm drowning, I'm just letting go of it. And maybe it means I disappoint some people. Maybe it means that I don't show up for certain things. I just recently canceled an event. Maybe it means some of those things, but it also means that I get to take a minute and get off the boat and all of those things and say, let me take a second to catch my breath and get recentered and figure out where I want to go. And I know that it's not holding on to something like a rope that is going to be pulling me through drowning levels of water. I am not ready for that because I know also that when you really, and I hope this skiing now, like I literally did not plan to talk about this. So that's why my brain is like skipping on it. But I just feel like when you take a little bit of a break, you let go of the rope and then you get yourself centered and you get your feet out in front of you and you get grounded. And if somebody will go a little bit slower instead of just speeding as fast as you can, that you'll be able to stand up and actually thrive, right? And that's really what I want for myself and what I want for my family and what I want for my community is to be able to say, okay, let me just stop for a moment and I'm going to get my breath and I'm going to realign myself with the things that matter most to me instead of the things other people are saying that should matter to me, instead of the other things people are saying I should be worried about, instead of the things everyone else is afraid of. I'm going to just recenter myself and say, okay, this is me. This is my life. And I am taking control and I am taking my power back and I am reclaiming myself and my sovereignty here in this moment. And I'm going to decide my next moves from a place of joy and excitement and a place of confidence rather than a place of terror or fear or rushed or obligation. And that is scary, but also feels extremely liberating. Yes. Oh my gosh. John Candy and the Great Outdoors. I have not seen that in years, probably since I was a kid. Love your highlighter cup back there. They're all mild liners. It's all highlighters. I don't have the new colors though. Someday. I think they were sold out when I was looking. Fox is here. Hello. All our HardyCon people. Oh my gosh, you are talking to me. Everything is falling apart, and yet there are things that are beautiful. I decided to go back to school, and I got a full scholarship. Wow, that's huge. That relieved one financial burden, but the other burdens are overshadowing that blessing, and I need to hear that today. Yeah, I think that sometimes it is, Yeah, exactly. You've not gotten this far to not be liberated. And I feel like this is the vibe for me right now. It's just like, okay, how can I get back to joy? How can I get back to my authentic self and to my own alignment? And so there's some things that I'm going to be doing to get there. And some of it's going to be experimental, but I'm going to share it with you just in case any of this gives you a little bit of an aha for your own life. So one step is that I have created sort of a plan for myself in terms of the things that are most important for me for my own self care throughout the day. And so this is my kind of like dream life menu, is what I'm calling it. I designed this in Canva and it was super easy to make. And I'll just show you. Let me see if I can actually share it, if I can find it. Okay, I think I can present and share my screen. All right, can you guys see that? Kind of. So basically, I just put, I don't know if I can make it bigger. I think I can. That made it smaller. Come back. Oh my gosh, it's being finicky. I don't know. That might be the best it can do without me fiddling with it. But anyway, you kind of get the idea. So these 2 pages are kind of like 7x9 size. I'm going to put these into, actually what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be laminating these, and then I'm going to be, oh, the percent bar at the bottom. Thank you. You're smarter than me. There we go. Rebecca to the rescue. I am going to be laminating these and then putting them into my planner, basically. So these are things that I know that I can eat that don't bother my PCOS, that are good for my blood sugar for the most part, and that start me off really well in the mornings. And I really, really am excited to try this out. So basically, what I'm going to do is every day when I wake up in the morning or the night before, I am going to circle the one that I choose, right? And I'm going to commit to it, just 100% commitment to myself, and get excited about it as if I am having like room service. And so I felt so supported, like totally supported when I was at HardyCon, because some of the people in this chat right now, Casey and Cassie and Angela, treated me like a queen because I had 16 hours of one-on-one meetings. And when I was having those meetings, they would just knock on the door and say, "We brought you a coffee," or "We brought you a salad," or "What would you like?" And it just felt so good. And I thought, okay, I can be this supported in my daily life as well. And I am, yay, welcome, welcome, YouTube members. So just having those choices, but also being able to feel supported because I can say to George, "This is what my menu is for the day. And can you have this for me?" Now, I know not everybody has that, but I do. And I'm super excited to be able to do that, but also kind of doing that level of support for myself and saying, okay, I've got these choices. This is the way that I want to show up for myself. These are things that are healthy for me. And this is great. Now, we've talked human design before, and there is a piece of human design that is called your taste, right? And I have closed taste. And what that means is, and I'm not surprised by this at all, but what that means is I'm the kind of person, if you believe in human design, which is kind of like astrology and stuff like that, that can eat the same things over and over again. Some people are not like that. So this might not work for you if you're somebody that's like, I need something different every single day. You might make yourself a dream life menu per week instead of per quarter or whatever. But for me, my typical breakfast is the 2 eggs. Usually George just makes them over easy with avocado and berries. I love it. I sprinkle everything but the bagel seasoning on the avocados and I love it. Somebody said, use this little thing. Is that better? Is that better or worse? I don't know if that's really better. We'll see. I think you can see it better if I do this. Chocolate chia seed pudding. I can post the the recipe, but it's so good. So it's like a half a cup of almond milk, and then a half a cup of chia seeds, and then I don't know if I can remember it because I'm always kind of remembering it. And then it's like a tablespoon of peanut butter and a tablespoon of like cacao powder. And then you mix it all up. I do sometimes often put a little bit of vanilla in it, just like pure vanilla, and then you leave it overnight. And so my plan for this is to go ahead and make like 2 of the chocolate chia seed pudding ones and just put it in the fridge so that, it lasts for like 5 days. So, yeah, it's like peanut butter and chocolate pudding. It is so good and it's low calorie, but the chia seeds have tons of protein in it. You can make it with any kind of milk. I usually do almond milk, and I just love it. So, but it is a little bit more like sweet, I guess, even though it doesn't have sugar in it, than like eggs. So that is kind of my like, if I need something to like pep me up in the morning, I can look forward to my chia seed pudding. I don't know. So I can either do 2 eggs, avocados, and berries, chia seed pudding with raspberries, and then I do sprinkle a little bit of extra peanut butter on the top. And yeah, you can use regular cow's milk, anything you want, that will work. And then the other thing is a hard boiled egg with grits and berries. So if I feel like I need a grain, grits is a good one for my personal blood sugar because I used to wear a blood sugar monitor. So I just am trying to keep my blood sugar good in the morning. So this is kind of what I'm going to do is every day, every night before I go to bed or every morning, I'm going to circle the one that I want and it'll be laminated so that I can just erase it at the end of the day. So for lunch, George will be making my lunch every day. And I am not going to eat out for lunch. I didn't put that as an option because I really want to eat at home most days for lunch. If it seems like that's not going to feel realistic because George and I want to go on like a date night or something like that, then I will switch it up and add an eat out to this. But lunch is grilled chicken with a salad, and my salad is usually like mixed greens with I love banana peppers, so I put banana peppers, seeds like pumpkin seeds or sunflower seeds, depending on where I am in my cycle. And then I put olives because I love olives. And I make my own dressing that is so easy but so healthy because it has equal parts olive oil and balsamic vinegar and a little bit of Dijon mustard. And then I mix it up, and it's this very like tangy dressing that can go on your salad. And then I usually will put some kind of feta cheese, but some days I don't have cheese. Um, banana peppers are so good on a salad, by the way. And then George makes me a grilled chicken that has turmeric on it. It's so, so good. Um, we don't have grits, and I did not know it was a grain. I assumed it was charred little pieces that go on. Somebody screenshot this for me because that just made me laugh so bad. Oh my gosh, that is hilarious, Jess. That is so, so funny. Um, it is not me at all. That is hilarious. Well, you were here in Texas, you were in the South, and I did not give you grits. But if I see you again someday, I will bring you some grits. That is hilarious. Um, that is just my favorite moment of the day. Brisket. So there is a place near us that has amazing brisket. So one of the plans is to go once a week and just get like a pound of brisket so that I can always have it ready to go if I want it. And then grilled vegetables that I am going to also make, ahead of time, and an apple. So I eat grits with salt and a little bit of butter. That's the way I like it. And then other option for lunch, if I don't have a lot of time, or if George isn't able to help out, or I just want something like that feels kind of snacky, I'm going to do a hard boiled eggs with cheese and a veggie plate, which is usually like celery, cucumbers, zucchini, and all of the like good, like big tomatoes and stuff like that. Sometimes with hummus, sometimes maybe with a ranch dip or something, but I didn't put all the like extras on it, like the dressings and things. And then for dinner, we have a weekly menu. So like every Monday night is crack chicken, which if you don't know what that is, it's just like a what do you call it? Like a crock pot meal that is basically chicken with cream cheese. It's delicious. So every Tuesday night is tacos, that kind of thing. So eat what's on the weekly menu or switch it up and eat out instead. But I'm going to try to keep the eat out to once a week and we'll see kind of how that goes. Then on the second page, I have more stuff that is kind of like workouts and things like that. So the workout is 30 minutes on the treadmill, the zombies run 5K training, walking outside, cardio workout, or Pilates or strength training. And it does not matter if I do walking outside every day, if I mix it up every day. I just need to pick something off this workout. So if I feel like I need rest, then I can literally just go outside and go for a walk for 5 or 10 minutes. And that's all I have to do. But at least I got some kind of movement in and I didn't have to follow some kind of strict regimen when I'm just starting to get into it. So I'm just like trying to take it easy and do something that seems fun. And I'm going to ask myself, like, what sounds like a fun workout today? Oh, you know what I'll do? 30 minutes on the treadmill and I get to watch a show. So then that becomes my fun time too. So the fun time, this is kind of what I was saying is like forced fun time to watch a show, movie, or anime, which I guess anime is a show, but you know what I'm saying. Read a book on audio, digital, or paper. My TBR is like ridiculous, my paperback TBR, or play a video game. And then another like other healthy habits, I have to pick at least 2 off of this menu. So 80 ounces of water, take all my supplements, 7+ hours of sleep, no sugar, no flour, limit my screen time, journal, or clean for 15 minutes. And I think that what I'm going to do is if I have a day where I follow through with every single thing on my list. Like I followed through on my dinner, my lunches, and I got, at least 2 from this list. I'm going to give myself some kind of little, probably like, I've got these little visual things. If you guys didn't see last week, I was showing this that I have been keeping kind of little to-do lists of these vase fillers, but Angela at HardyCon brought me these little cauldrons. I'm going to use this for my work stuff, but I do have this other one that I might do for rewards. And then if I get a certain amount, like maybe once I get to 10, then I can do something extra for myself, like go get a massage or, I don't know, massage is a pretty big reward, but maybe go and get a 7 brew coffee or something like that. But I feel like taking this time, this is sort of what I mean by alignment and authenticity, is if you can create things that feel true to yourself, that feel really aligned with where you want to go, not always where you've been, not what you're worried about, not what what other people are telling you is the healthiest things that you have to be. Does it have to be a different 2? It doesn't have to be a different 2. It can literally be any of those 2. So if it's every day I'm getting 7 hours of sleep and I'm taking all my supplements, that's a win. And then over time, I'm hoping to be like, okay, now we're going to do 3 a day and then we're going to do 4 a day. But that'll be, I think, easier and more sustainable for me than saying, I'm going to just do all of these things. So Jordan, I just went through the menu. I don't know if you just joined us, but it's just a piece of paper that has all those options that I just went through on there. And I'm going to be circling the ones that I want to focus on. But I feel like this will be a fun, low stress, low pressure way to really focus in on, okay, who am I becoming? How do I want to spend my everyday? As if I were sitting in a spa and they were like, what would you like to order and do today? And I could be like, oh, you know what? I'd like the eggs and the salad. And I'm going to do a little bit of Pilates today. And I'm going to play a video game tonight. And it just feels so luxurious rather than the way that I have approached like self-transformation stuff in the past, which has been, you must check all these things off the list or you're a failure, right? And I really want to be extra kind to myself. When are you starting? So I just printed this out today. So I'm just going to start it on, Monday because this was week 1 of Q2. However, I have not this week has been all about planning and kind of getting myself back into routine. I've been mostly cleaning, although that has not yet included this room as there's still, you can see like stuff on the floor, but everything pretty much starts on Monday. Yeah, update next coffee chat. I can tell you kind of how it's going. And giving myself permission to say, you know what, this is too hard. This is too many things. I'm going to take lunch off the menu and just do whatever I want for lunch, but try to make everything else good. Oh my gosh, so if you guys haven't heard of 75 Hard, this is a challenge. I forget the guy's name that decided to do it. It's like a mental toughness challenge of following certain things, like reading 10 pages of a book, taking a picture every day, drinking a gallon of water, 2 1-hour workouts, and one of them has to be outside. Andy Frisella, 75 Hard for 75 days in a row. And if you don't do all the things and you have to follow a diet and no alcohol, I think it is. I call it 75 Dumb. I think it can be, I think it can be really good if you're working on your discipline, but I also am like, I don't know. It doesn't really leave a lot of time, like a lot of space for grace. And it doesn't leave a lot of space for like, being on your cycle if you're someone who is on a cycle. It's just like, I think it's not super kind to most people. However, I do think that if you're really like, I want to figure out how to be somebody who is super disciplined, then maybe it can be super helpful. So I'm not going to criticize it exactly, but I don't think it's for me. But I did try to do something earlier this year earlier last year that I was calling 75 Cute, because if you know, George calls me sweetie and he calls me cute. So I was trying to do 75 Cute, which now that I'm saying it out loud to real people other than myself sounds kind of ridiculous. But 75 Cute for me was, I was trying to do similar to 75 Hard, but instead of 2 hours of workout, I was trying to get some writing in and a 30-minute workout. And I still couldn't stick to it. It's too hard for me, but I am not super disciplined, and I would like to be more disciplined, but sometimes when I just try to force myself into discipline, it just ends up being more stressful than it needs to be. Oh my gosh. Caitlin, I tried 75 Hard a few weeks ago, but then got vertigo because the 1 gallon of water left me depleted of electrolytes. I cannot do that challenge, but the other tasks were easy. There's no way I could find 2 hours without having to cut other things. Depends on what we're being disciplined about. Yeah, exactly. I have really bad demand avoidance, so 75 anything is a no-go for me. So that kind of translates into this conversation about how do you manifest based on authenticity and alignment. And also, speaking of alignment, I'm trying to spend more time with my family, and we're going to see the Minecraft movie today. And I bought tickets as soon as they became available weeks ago. And the kids have been instructed that at 4:50, they're allowed to come in here and tell me to stop talking so that we can get to the movie theater. So just so you know, we're ending right on time today so that we can go to the theater. And it's going to be super fun. But when we think about the word authenticity and we think about manifestation, I really do feel that the majority of manifestation, whatever you believe manifestation is, like if we were to come up with a definition of manifestation, I would just say manifestation is the process of deciding you want something and then making it happen. And however that happens is wonderful. And most of the time when we want really big things, it happens in such a magical, unexpected way. But like this house, many of you have heard the story about this house. This was a huge manifestation. And it doesn't mean that I didn't work hard and I didn't make the money. It wasn't like someone just handed me this house out of the blue, although that might happen to some people. But it's this idea of saying, here's what I want. This is who I want to be in the world. These are the things I want to experience. And then focusing on it in a way that's like, wouldn't that be so fun if that was my life? But not in a way of like, I need that in order to be happy. So like finding a way to focus on it and be excited about it, but not hold on to it so hard that you like are holding on so tight that you lose it. I don't know. That doesn't make sense. That's not exactly what I mean to say. What am I trying to say? Rebecca, Rebecca, where are you? Help me with this piece. Um, hold on loosely. That whole idea of like I yeah, sort of set it and forget it. Although I don't fully do set it and forget it, but I think it depends again on your type of human design if you're into that, which I don't think we ever got a chance to talk about that, Marie. So many people set their intentions and then don't do crap and surprised that manifestation doesn't work. I Yeah, don't be too rigid. Exactly. Allow for pliability, allow for things to come in their own way. Like I certainly wanted a beautiful home. I had certain things on my list, but I thought that house was going to be in Charleston. And so I was able at some point to yeah, exactly. Somebody wins a free house that's a dream house. But to just be like, allow for it to come in whatever way it's meant to come to you. Yeah, like you want it, but would be fine without it. So good to have, but not a need. Let magic give you that or something better. Bam, belief plus action equals manifestation. Yeah, I love that. That is such a great way of saying it. It's just this idea of saying, I'm going to orient myself towards the things that I most want to experience and to be in my life and the things I want to have, the type of life, the way I want to feel. And I'm going to start making moves to believe that that is possible for myself. And that sounds so simple, and it really is. But when I think about how to actually make that happen, especially when we're in a place of like fear, or what if it can't happen? What if I'm not good enough? What if the whole world implodes? Like all of these different things. It can be really hard to actually get into a place where we're manifesting rather than repelling the things that we want. And so I think part of the key of it is authenticity. And when I think about authenticity, I'm really thinking about, who are you really? Like, do you want something because someone told you to want it, or do you want it because it really is who you are? And I also think about the idea of a spark. So when you think about the thing that you want, or the person you want to be, or when you think about something someone else has that sounds really fun, it's kind of like a little bit of a spark comes up in your eyes of like, oh my gosh, that would be so much fun to have that. Or so like I think about, for example, Andrew, who at first wasn't sure he wanted to play any kind of sport. And when I started showing him baseball, and then he was really nervous about starting to play, there came a point when he hit the ball for the first time in a game. And when he came out of that moment and was, had scored a point, crossed the home plate, come back into the dugout or whatever, he was just like, his eyes sparkling, and he was like, maybe this is, that he's my son, because he didn't go from that moment to maybe I do like baseball. He went from that moment to maybe I'm going to play in the major leagues. I was like, you are definitely my child. But there's just that piece of spark. And a lot of times, the way that we can kind of discover it, if you feel like you've lost your spark a little bit, is to think back to when you were happier, or when you were a child, or when you were given the freedom to explore something that you wanted without worrying about what anyone else thinks of you. Or like when you're in the quiet of your room and you start looking at someone else's life, or something someone has experienced, or you see something that's been created, and you just feel it in your bones of like, oh my gosh, that would be so much fun to have that. And even if it was immediately followed by, but I could never do that, it doesn't matter. If there was a spark in you that was like, oh my gosh, one day I would love to do XYZ, then that is authenticity. That's alignment. Also, if you can strip away what anybody else expects from you, or what you think you should want. So, for example, when we talk about authors and wanting to be successful as an author, for some reason lately, it feels like everybody's acting as if you're not successful unless you're making seven figures. But the truth is, not all of us want that life of seven-figure author, right? It's like very I mean, Rebecca Yarros has talked openly about people stalking her, showing up at her house. Like, not everybody wants that. Colleen Hoover has been through the ringer when it comes to people stalking her, or drama with celebrities and other things like that. Like, when we really think about what we want, not everybody wants the biggest, flashiest goals. So if you can find a way to sort of step back from what everyone says you should want, or how everyone else defines success, and instead start journaling. This is why I love scripting, because if you start a journal where you act as if it's 5 years in the future and you're having the most perfect day, and you're writing a journal entry for your perfect future day, see what comes up, because it can be really interesting to find out that, like, oh, I didn't realize how much I really wanted to travel, or I didn't realize how much I really just want a quiet life with chickens in the backyard, stuff like that. Um, what if you were once told that you needed to have the biggest goals and achieve them in order to reach your goals? Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes when we talk about authenticity and alignment, that a lot of us have been told that we have to want the biggest parts. Um, but the truth is, there are a million ways to reach those goals. And yeah, some people can have Rebecca Yarros levels of money, but not be as well known in terms of their private life. Or there are more unknown authors. Like, the majority of people in the world have no idea who I am, and I've still made over $2 million writing books. And that goes to show you that, like, you don't have to be the biggest, flashiest, most best-selling, well-known author. Like, I've never had a breakout success. I've never hit the USA Today. I've never even hit the top 100 on Amazon at a launch of my books, only with ads. Like a BookBub ad have I ever hit top 100. And that's okay. I'm still super successful, and I'm able to kind of quietly influence and be authentic to myself. But there have been also times when I was like, you know what? Everybody says I need to write really sexy, so I'm going to try opening this book with a really sexy scene. And that book didn't do as well, because not because sexy books aren't popular, but because that wasn't authentic to the type of book I wanted to write at the time. And I was purely doing it because other people told me I would be more successful if I did it that way. There have also been things that I have held myself back from, like writing A Mirror of Shadows. I wanted to write it a few years ago. Somebody told me they would be mad if I wrote something like that, that wasn't part of the main series. And so I didn't do it. I wasn't being authentic to myself. And I think one of the bravest, but also most valuable things that we can do for our own manifestations of our dream life and the person that we want to be and the experience we want to have, is to have the courage to say, this is who I am, and I'm going to follow that, even if no one else can see the vision, even if everybody else thinks it's not a big enough dream, even if it's something where people are like, you can't do that, you're not good enough. Even if nobody else can see the path that you see, just trusting yourself. And like, when we think about authenticity, it's like, if you strip away what everybody else thinks of you and what everyone else has told you, what is it that seems fun? What is it that gives you a spark? What is it that makes you excited? Like, when I think about my own authenticity, it's the things I take for granted too. It's like, I love color. So here's one example that's kind of small but important, is in the planner world, there have been some people that have kind of gone viral on Instagram and things like that for having very minimal, beautiful, sort of like everything's tan and monochrome sort of setups, right? Like the cloth and paper kind of look. And I have many times tried to like purchase things and get myself into a more like monochrome color, because I think, oh, it just looks so elegant to have just this like one color scheme and this one planner and these beautiful sort of tan highlighters. And it's just a very beautiful, yeah, beige. Exactly. Beige bow. Jess is bringing it today with the laughter. I love it. Yeah, like a beige rainbow. It just looks so beautiful and it looks so adult. And I have wanted, and you guys don't even want to know how much money I have spent in secret trying to pretend to be that person, because I'm like, doesn't that just look elegant, right? But when I'm thinking about my authentic self, it is really all about what I am drawn to and what I naturally want to create. So it's like I can look at the aesthetic, but me trying to be it is me stepping outside of my authenticity. And so I have just learned to embrace, like, let me just put all the color and all the like darkness and all of the purple, and let me just put in all my magical little funny things, and let me embrace the Hello Kitty because it's fun, right? It's this is who I am. But there are other people that would be like caught wouldn't be caught dead before they put some kind of cartoony looking thing inside their planner. And I think part of being authentic and getting into alignment is just being fully fully allowing yourself to just be who you are with no apologies, and to lean into the things that naturally come to you, and try to stop worrying about like, well, everybody says if I do X, I'm going to be more popular on Instagram, or everybody says that if I do this, I'll be more liked, or I think if I act this way, I'll look more adult or more elegant or whatever. Follow your own intuition and your own truth of what you want and who you want to be, and it will naturally create the most happiest outcome for yourself. And when you think about what you want in your future and what you ideally want to manifest, then you can align yourself with that. So, for example, it's like I know that when I think about Broken Chapter Society, I have wanted to do this legitimately for so many years, and I've held myself back, held myself back, held myself back. But we're doing it now, right? Like there's a lot of stuff coming this month, even more coming next month. And I'm finally just going all in, and I'm not going to worry about like what anybody else is doing. I can use inspiration if I see other people have a Patreon or they're doing something fun with their community, but I also get to have this be a playground for us. And I can trust that whatever I come up with that seems really fun and feels like it's in alignment and feels like it gives me a spark and gets me excited is going to also be fun for you, because that's alignment, that's authenticity. And what I dream of someday is, I mean, this is a big dream, but what I dream of, what I think I someday want to manifest is I want to manifest a Broken Chapter Society that's got thousands of members, and where we have our own, Sanderson level event where we've got cosplay and planners and signed books and special editions and just tons of time to hang out and do cool stuff together. And I want to see that happen someday. But it's like there's not that many authors that can do that. And it would be so easy for me to say, well, I'm never going to be like Brandon Sanderson. I'm never going to be that big. Like, I'm never going to have that. Nobody, blah, blah, blah. Like, I could talk myself out of it. And then I could look to other people who say, well, you know what? You should start small, or you should do it this way, or you should try to get a trad pub deal. Or, the only way you're ever, this has definitely been told to me many times, is the only way you're ever going to have that kind of influence is if you take a deal with traditional publisher. And so you should be writing specifically to that type of blah, 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 blah. And it's not that it's bad advice, but I know that's not aligned for me. And at least not right now. There may be something coming later, but like that's not aligned for me right now. And learning how to sense what is aligned for me and what isn't, how to be what feels authentic to me and what doesn't, is the key to all of the magic. What I dream of is book 12. It is coming. It is coming. I promise. But let me tell you, the stuff that is going to happen in A Mirror of Shadows / this series that's coming up is going to play so beautifully into book 12. So I highly recommend that you show up here in May to come listen to that series first, because there's going to be some really cool tie-ins. And it already blows my mind just to think of it. And my biggest fear is that I won't be able to pull it off, but I also know that I can trust that I will pull it off. But I feel like when we think about manifestation, it is like E. Marie said, like so many people will say, well, manifestation is just getting into a good feeling place and then being like, where's my money? But the truth is, manifestation is just trusting yourself enough and allowing yourself to get quiet from the noise of the world and say, deepest heart of heart, what gives me a spark right now? Where is the energy flowing? Because especially if you're in a place of constant stress and there's a lot of stress at work, or there's stress at finances, or the house is a mess, or there's, a bunch of things that are going on in your life right now that feel hard or feel stressful. If you can give yourself a gift this afternoon, tomorrow at some point, to just cut the noise, don't listen to music, don't talk to anybody, go sit in your closet if you have to get away, let everybody know you need a couple minutes, and give yourself like 15 minutes to just sit with your hand on your heart. Take some deep breaths and just think, where's the energy? What's fun for me right now? If life could be really fun right now, if I could do something that feels really exciting, what would that be? And just give yourself enough quietness to not think about what you're worried about, and instead think about, if I could get back to something that was fun, if my heart were asking me to do something, if my truest self was trying to get out, what would I most want to do? And really listen to whatever that voice inside your head, which is really you, right? The good stuff. What does it say? What does your heart say to you? And it's the same way of me standing on the edge of the woods, holding a burner phone, basically talking to George in 2007. I had just turned 30. I had just filed for divorce, and George was trying to convince me to move in with him. I was standing on the edge of the woods in my parents' house, like where my parents live. And he just was like, you can either be, because I was making all these excuses about all the things I was worried about. I can't teach over there. I don't have enough, blah, 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 like all these excuses. And he just threw down the gauntlet and he says, listen, you can spend a few more years knowing that you're not going in the direction you want to go, or you can just take a leap of faith and do what you most want to do. That's the essentials of what he said. And he was like, if you moved here, you don't have to be a teacher. What would you do? What if you could just do anything in the world that you wanted to do that would make you happy? What would you do? And I did not even know it. I had not expressed it in so many years. I had held this desire down for so long. But in that moment, when someone gave me permission to dream and they just said, if you could do whatever you wanted to do that would make you happy, what would you do? And I just, like, it just poured out of me. I want to be a writer. And it changed, that moment changed my whole life, because I gave myself permission to say, this is who I want to be. And then instead of just saying, but I'm too scared to follow it, I actually, like a week later, turned in my notice at my job, did the very hard thing of telling my parents that I was leaving town to move in with some guy right after I'd gotten divorced that I met in a video game. Everybody thought I was crazy. And it changed my whole life. And it brought me to this moment that I have everything I ever dreamed of is my life right now, except I don't have a TV show on TV. And that is coming. And I don't have a pool in my backyard. And I still can't water ski. I don't know that I really care about water skiing. But when I tell you that just taking a moment to let the noise go and then to give yourself permission, like get quiet in your mind and imagine that Sarah is on the phone with you. And I say to you, if you could do anything in the world that you wanted to do right now, and you knew you would be successful at it, if you could follow one dream, what would it be? And just write down the very first thing that comes to you. The thing that sounds maybe scary, maybe a little bit of a stretch, maybe a little bit of a risk, but it makes your heart kind of twitter a little bit, that you say, this is what I want. This is who I am. And then have the courage to, you don't always have to be like, okay, I quit my job and now I'm going after it. Cause I know that's like, that was my journey, but not necessarily everyone's journey. But to truly say, okay, now I'm going to take the first step towards that. And I'm going to start to maybe it's creating a menu for yourself where you say, okay, every day I'm going to start moving in the right direction. And this menu that I created for myself, this is not just about eating healthy and about showing up in one way. This menu for me is about saying, I know that I want to get my energy in a place where I feel supported all day long. I want to get to a place where I'm clearing the brain fog. I'm putting myself in a good mood. One of the things that I did for myself, that I do quite often for myself, is create a playlist, because music is one of those mood lifters. Some of you might not be lifted by music, but most of us are lifted up by music. So I created a new playlist today called Morning Pump Up, which is such a silly name, but it just has like, it starts off with Imagine Dragons, I'm on top of the world. And that song is now programmed by my Google Home to come on at 6:20 every morning to wake me up. And I'm going to open the windows, like all the shades are going to be open so that I can have the first rays of sunlight. I'm going to make my bed every morning, and I'm going to start my day feeling good before I ever let anybody else's thoughts into me. I'm just going to focus on my beautiful family, music, lights, spray, like splashing my water on my face. I'm also something else I'm going to do, and I'll share all this in a video, but I'll also, as LA said, I'll update you guys next week on how it's going. But I think I'm going to start putting out just like whatever I'm going to work out in by my sink, and getting up just 10 minutes earlier than I'm currently getting up. And I'm going to splash my face with water, have the music going, dance around to it, and put on my workout gear so that as soon as the kids leave for school, I'm doing whatever I said I was going to do. Zombies run, 30 minutes on the treadmill, go outside for a walk, do some cardio, do some Pilates, whatever it may be. It is probably public on Spotify, but if not, I will share it with you guys in the Discord, and maybe I'll put it in the link here on the description later. But for now, we got to go because we're going to go see Minecraft movie. This is kind of what we were talking about. I think it was last week. You know, George and I have just really gotten into a mindset of saying, what if everything's an adventure? You know, what if instead of being so scared of everything, we just started saying, okay, it'll be an adventure and let's figure it out, and it's going to be fun, and what is it going to look like? And maybe it's going to be challenging, but I'm going to get quiet and figure out who I am, and I'm going to start lining myself with that authenticity and that alignment every single minute of the day. Here's the kids letting me know. You guys ready? Did you wear your glasses today? Yeah. You ready to go?
Guess what?
What?
The meanest thing happened today.
What? Okay, you tell me after, okay?
No, I'll just tell you.
No, just tell me after. We're going to go see a movie. Thank you guys for hanging out. You Minecraft movie.
It's the first
one. We're going to go have some fun. I hope you guys have a good time. And if you take a minute to just imagine and get quiet and imagine that I'm saying to you, well, if you could do whatever you wanted, what would you do? Mommy, I want to know if you come up with an answer, if anything comes to you, because it's time to give yourself permission to be authentic, to be joyful, and to go after your dreams.
It's okay.
Even if you're not Mommy's fans, everybody here is a fan of Mommy, unless they're here just to talk about how much they don't like me, which you're still a fan because you're here. Just a hater fan. All right, you guys, I love you all so much. Andrew's trying to bend down so we can still see his face. Is that what you were doing? Yes. He's so tall. He's basically as tall as me. All right, you guys, we're going to go get our blankets and our snacks, and we're going to go see a movie. I will see you guys next weekend. But also don't forget that if you're a writer, tomorrow is Double Down Day. So we'll be writing from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. I am going live from 9 to 11 p.m. tomorrow night on Heart Breathing's YouTube channel. And we'll be sprinting all day. Nope, we got to go. All right. I super love you guys. Is that your ring? I super love you guys. And
I also got a ring from school.
I will post my playlist. She'll just talk all day. So we're just going to say goodbye. Love you guys. Say bye.